Hi Mukund, am I audible to you?
Yeah. Hi,
Hi, how are you?
all well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Actually, I'm extremely sorry. Somehow I have not been able to put it on LinkedIn. I have been trying, but I have not been able to, make it a podcast the way we wanted to. So I'm planning to record it. Are you comfortable with it if we record and later I put it on the LinkedIn?
Yeah. I'm okay.
Just allow me, okay, it's perfectly going on. So, Mukund, it's been a pleasure having you, and I'm looking for a fun-filled 1 hour
I am looking for that too, Vivek ji.
because most of the time, whenever we talk, we communicate, there has been a lot of incidences where, we share a lot of ideas. And so I thought once we initiate, the very first podcast and officially try to kickstart, let me have somebody who is really close to me and where, we can have some kind of
Oh, sweet.
a fun discussion. So if somebody joins, somebody would like to know, we could, try to give them live problem solutions and, live discussion. That is going to be, I think, a different kind of a ball game, which usually
Uh,
podcasters don't follow.
like a fireside chat, but on webcam.
Yeah. No, people have, they have put in the messages, they have put in the comments also that it doesn't work out like this. You need to have the questions first and categorize. I said, no, I'm not looking for an AI bot kind of a thing. No, it is
Right.
supposed to be live. It is supposed to be real time because
Yeah.
the person I'm having, I know he's an experienced campaigner and I know kind of chemistry that we share. So we do not need, something which is supposed to be more AI model kind of a thing. No, let it be what exactly it is.
Oh, sweet. Oh, sweet.
It's really a pleasure. So Mukund, you have been working with Avishkar. You have a lot of experience of venture debt, and you have been assessing a lot of debt deals and lot of VC deals almost every day. If I need to ask that, okay, if I'm somebody who is a pre-seed, because recently we had lot of discussions with lot of people, even abroad and in India, and then the
Mhm.
definitions are quite diverge. Because if we talk about Silicon Valley, if we talk about Singapore, somebody's ready to still put in some money in an idea, which is
Mm,
not a ball
mm.
game in India anymore. Even if you have a company registered, you have a product which is under making, you have a product which is also in a beta stage, tested beta stage, maybe an MVP, but not ready to be commercialized. We'll still say, no, it is not a pre-seed, it is much before, pre-seed. Pre-seed is when it has been commercialized and it is into market. That is what actually Indian definition looks like. So we would like to know your take and why is it so? Why this market distinction and product recognition distinction is there?
Yeah, I think it was. It's not a very simple statement to make, but I think India has a lot of high risk investors, and India also has a lot of low risk investors, right? For me personally, of course, I'm more into credit, so my risk appetite always remains low. But even when we come across ideas which are only notional, right, you don't know whether or not they will grow. An HNI or maybe an angel investor will be happy to do if they share the same passion, right? Now, these passionate enterprises are not very widespread, in all honesty. Right? For example, if you bring me an idea which is equivalent to an apple, I still may not invest. A lot of people still reject it. A lot of people rejected Nika, sugar, a lot of these things plainly because they did not share the same passion or did not have the same vision. So alignment of vision is where I see the distinction, right? A lot of these new age, new found ideas which are trying to boom up in India are a lot of times copies of international or maybe original. Specifically, if because they are original, it is tough to raise funds. If they are copies, we know there's an established market, the idea has already run into town, and it's easier to invest into it. Right? For example, I'm currently evaluating a pre-seed deal, though as a credit investor, I should not. Right, but I know the founders. I know they've already done it before. They can easily do it again. That trustworthiness and that passion is already been tested out before. So pre-seed is not just about passion, but it's also about how much of it has been done before by you, maybe, or by your team. And if that replicates into your current business model, it is easier to invest. That is where the distinction lies. So pre-seed for India usually is what you've already been into the market. Easy that way because right now it is happening. It's in the present. and future can be extrapolated. But if you've never done it, it's a first generation entrepreneur, you have some brilliant idea, but nobody, you can't convince anybody. Again, most of pre-seed is a sales game. If you can't sell it, you can't invest.
That's a very good quote to keep with, and I'm going to use it somewhere very soon. One thing which really fascinated and which really kept me thinking, doing a debt and that too for a pre-seed. Uh, how does it match? Because usually, are there pre-seed founders who are interested in raising debt to start with?
No, again, it depends on a lot of them, right? If we understand the schematics correctly, I look at that in a very positive aspect, right? It gives leverage to your equity. It is not debt. It is leverage to your equity. Your equity returns are multifolded if you take the right debt at the right point in time. A pre-seed guy who knows there will be traction, who has already established a 200 crore, 500 crore kind of a company previously, using similar thesis in the similar segment, will most likely succeed in what it is doing. Of course, we do our own research. It's an equity kind of an investment, no doubt, but uh, priced rightly, they will be happy.
Great. And another fact on a venture debt side that really, somehow plays some kind of a confusing game for me is a presence of an equity investor or already an established first round where you have some recognized, maybe a lead book runner or a lead investor, which really infuses the confidence into the venture debt. This is usually a criteria which has been followed across the broad spectrum. So,
Correct.
once you are saying that, okay, if somebody has already played the game, somebody who understands the schematics, somebody who understands the market dynamics, it's perfectly fine that, we are going to fund them. But on the other hand, lot of venture debts, they say you need to have a lead investor, you need to have the first round equity being generated, a recognized investor, not even angels, not even, angel funds, but a
Institutional
recognized
investors, yeah.
institutional investor. Then only we are going to step in.
No,
But
no, no. So even in this pre-seed, right, we know a lot of investors who are ready to put in. It's a very conventional VD. It is not that we are only backing on the guys simply because we trust them. They will 100% not take our money. It is equity money which is coming in along with us.
okay.
So thesis remains same for a venture debt. It is not that we are solely relying on them. Of course, no company will be very happy to take a venture debt if there is no equity coming in. They have no leverage to their equity then. So equity is here. Even in this case, there is equity, and that I think remains consistent throughout.
But why? My key question is why? Why, if somebody is ready and they think that they could really easily service the debt, and your debt rates are, service rates are already high, rate of interest that is being charged by the private credit is already high, then why do you expect in equity to be there as a guarantee or maybe as a trust building bridge?
Very, very, very true. Actually, Vivekji, I'll tell you what the problem is. Right. So there are two credit spectrums. Right. One is a venture debt spectrum. One is a private credit spectrum. Private credit, maybe we have sponsored, unsponsored investments. Venture debt is usually sponsored. You don't have an unsponsored venture debt, ideally, in a good case scenario. Now, venture debt guys come in when you know either the company may not be able to service the debt, may have a high cash burn, may not be institutionalized, right? And you need a lead anchor investment who will take equity as their ownership and not just for the sake of equity. You need those MISs on time. You need to keep a check on what the expenses are being done. You need to keep a check on the governance of the company. That's what venture debt guys rely on, and not the company or the business model. A lot of times, right? I mean, for example, if Six Sense or the likes of Fire Capital or the likes of some sort of a good institutional investor is coming in, I'll be very happy to write a venture debt check because I know they will keep an eye on what is happening. Right. For a private credit guy, these are not short-term debts. These are usually 3 to 5 year kind of checks. Whether sponsored or unsponsored is the credit risk appetite of of the fund. Right. Abhi unko, for example, we've done a lot of deals which are non-sponsored. Rather, all of our deals currently are non-sponsored. It's purely promoter backed, and that takes time to develop that trust and reliance. If the company is in need of urgent cash, best way out is banks. But if you genuinely need a credit check, it is best to develop some sort of trust before you put it. Otherwise, I will keep on doing transactions which are fairly established big companies, right? Where trust is already in the market. So your question stands valid. However, the only aspect that I see is when an institutional investor comes in, they do a DD to an extent that a credit investor may not, and that is what we are relying on. That they have developed the trust, that they know they are now owners of the company, and that they know they will not let the company fall down because even they have to seek their returns. So it's not only financial but also a lot of governance part which builds credibility when an institutional investor comes in.
In simple words, whose risk is big? So if we have somebody having a bigger risk, we would definitely like to take some risk.
Of course, no, no, yeah, of course. If there's a bigger fish, a smaller fish will be very easy to navigate. Eh,
No, agreed, agreed. With going back to something which a lot of times we have also discussed, there are companies who have the debt of the books, maybe coming from the uh, private lenders, maybe coming from the different unorganized market, maybe from HNIs, and these kind of debts maybe for a short deal, maybe 6 to 8 months, and not being even showcased onto the books. How do you try to look at it? How you have been even in due diligence that may not come, because a lot of times we even get from the channel partners, maybe even from the financial institutions, even from a big banks, that we have not been able to gauge this kind of a risk, this kind of a lending which were coming from unofficial sources. How do you go about it? How do you try to find it out, and how do you manage it?
So, a very simple logic that I follow: if money is coming into the business, it has to come into the business through something, right? Multiple ways you can expunge this money which are off books. You either genuinely show it as off books or unsecured debts. You show it as promoter infusions, you show it as related party borrowings, you show it as vendor delay payments, you show it as receivables which have come in, etc. etc. So, diligence, a very thorough diligence will only be able to pick it up. But what I feel, right, if a company has decent enough governance and it is in genuine cash flow need, and if it does take such kind of a debt, I am okay, because even they need to survive, right? It is a lifeboat for them. I, I'm personally also an impact investor, and I understand the company which will be able to survive will be able to win. If you can't survive today through whatever means you can, then you will have nothing in the future to show for. I mean, no
Right.
future value is created if you die today, right?
Yeah.
Even if you take an unsecured borrowing today, for example, a lot of these EPC guys keep taking it. Right? Through some, you show it as promoter infusion, where we know the promoter is not really capable of infusing such kind of monies, right? They may not have such kind of liquid assets. You understand from the market, you understand from the networks, etc. So a lot of times it does so happen that they have taken it, and we are comfortable only because we understand that this is the need of the hour. Right? So why it has been taken is of essence. Our normal diligence will point out that there is a problem, there is a red flag, and despite that, if they've taken an unsecured, then it is a big question. But if things are moving smooth, we understand that the company is in dire need of usually working capital in these cases. It is okay. It is fine. Though it is high cost, but a company is also making a call on a high cost debt because it is in need. No, nobody will be happy bringing in net equity loan to credit instrument to claim it. That's the thought.
Perfect. It gets me to another question. Usually we talk about U-turn deals. Okay, and most of the SMEs, most of the family businesses with whom we deal, and as a consultant, and they come when they are even over with their runways, when they have burned the
Hmm.
bridge, and at a very last moment, they are about to be becoming NPAs, or some of them has been an NPA maybe for a month or so, and before that they realize, okay, something will be done, and then immediately they need, okay, we need to go to a consultant. It's time to shell out some money, and maybe pay some fee, and objective is not to turn around but to get the money into the business. No, anything that you, because whatever we suggest to them, whatever we tell them, it looks like they do not hear us, because they say, it is completely, you give me money and I'm going to again run the business. I know what is to be done. And when you tell them that, okay, if I'm going to take you to the fund, fund is not going to, ready to accept it, because you are
Hmm.
either already becoming an NPA, or you are about to become an NPA, or even the bridge which was there has already been burned. Anything, which you would suggest that how they should work out, how, they should plan, how they should try to see. from the fund's perspective. Because when we tell them that you should have, recognized this pattern maybe 6 months, 8 months, a year back, they say, who can recognize what is going to happen after a year? No, but as a business consultant, somebody who has been into this field for a longer time, I know that there are patterns, but maybe I'm a third party. I've always been a third party running the business for the first time, and my business model is also not, we are where we are manufacturing. So,
Yeah.
so for us, it is, very easy to also gauge what exactly is going to happen in the industry. And fortunately, unfortunately, we keep on changing. That is what you may have seen. So, but if somebody's into a traditional industry, somebody who has been into a family business, somebody who hasn't been an SME, how could they, try to recognize from the fund's perspective, their financial health, and at what is the right time for them to approach, debt funds or a private equity funds? Because on a D day, nobody's going to touch your business.
Yeah, for sure, for so. See, I believe in India still, right? Credit is not really looked upon as a leveraging good instrument. It's still looked upon as a bad instrument. You know what? I have to give cash outflows. It is not good. Let me take equity. It is a 5 year down the line kind of a problem for me, and still there is no cash outflow. I don't understand. See, every time you take equity, right, you are diluting and you are giving operational control of your business at the end of the day, which is some people which are comfortable with it are good, but it is not the optimum path at all times, right? So if a company is coming to me after it has burned all the things, it is already stressed out, and no credit investor will put in money. Even I think a stress situation fund will think twice before putting in money, in all honesty. And if this has been, see, a promoter, I believe, knows that this is going to happen. The faultiness that we see is not that they are not able to recognize, it is that they're not able to accept. Every person who's running a business knows when the business is getting down. Every person knows where the market is going. But it is essential for them to accept that this is not happening today and there is something wrong. A lot of businesses, you know what, I'll bridge this money, I'll bring this money from here, I'll put this into the business and I'll turn it around. That turnaround only happens when the pattern is not repeated. They've been doing it the same thing, same time, all the time. It becomes very tough.
I'm extremely sorry. I have met somebody, the rate of growth from 30% has come down to 8%. And still, they haven't realized that there has been some kind of a plateau in growth and now we are going down. They were still saying, okay, let me infuse more funds, let me keep on doing the traditional line of business, and it is going to turn around, or it is going to, magically going, something is going to happen. And they always have been, it is happening because of external forces. And it has taken some 4.5 good years. I will not say it happened in 4 months. It has taken some 4.5 years. So, also try to address these kind of situations.
So in these cases now, Vivek ji, what I've noticed is, again, they're hopeful, right? Every and that is their right to be hopeful. Ki things will turn around, things will make sense. I just need to keep it afloat. Like I've been telling, I just need to survive today to move on to tomorrow, and maybe
Yeah.
tomorrow will be a better day. Correct. तो अभी तकलीफ क्या होता है ना यहाँ पे, as a fund and as a consultant like us, it becomes very easy for us to look at it from a third party perspective because we are not involved in the operations. We don't have to associate any hope with the business. It's a very practical approach to us. And that's why my biggest advice to any family run business is please have advisors on your board. Please have independent directors. Please have additional folks, advisors who have done businesses, who have run businesses, whom you can connect with when you need advice. Right? Because, and as a fund also, we try to have an observer kind of a seat so that if you can't see it, let us allow us to help you. Because it should not happen that because of your hopes, the entire business is going at 200, 300 crore business just stops tomorrow. Right? So the the thing is when a promoter is extremely passionate or extremely hopeful, right? I've seen a lot of promoters who are dreamers. Well, let me infuse this 40 crores, let me infuse this 100 crores, I will pay you 200 crores tomorrow. But they don't see the practical challenges which come. It is not going to be tomorrow, it's going to be 2 years down the line, those 200 crores. And till then, you have no money to put in the business. You will have to stagnate. And that is not what they see because they always believe that the business is going concern for the next 100 years. So
Yes.
2 years is a very short amount of time where they refuse to accept that within those 2 years they can stop their entire business. It may fall. So it is necessary to have an influential figure which can address problems which the promoter is refusing to see.
No, usually I've seen the family-run business boards. It is, me,
Uh,
my son, my daughter-in-law, my daughter, maybe my son-in-law, and our CA.
Absolutely.
So this is how exactly that board looks like, or maybe a friend of mine or a family friend, whoever is into the same business. This is how exactly that board looks like. Now, in that board, who tries to explain things to whom and who tries to give the right direction? It's simply, you cannot understand
Unaddressed. Yeah.
because most of the I happened to have a recent discussion with a father and son team who had a business which ran into a problem. Now they are trying to, they have been somehow been able to rejuvenate it by taking it to Middle East. And I really found that the father had lot of experience, and he was coming from a very good institution, from the mechanical field, and he has been able to build. Now son has a different aspirations, but then he has to be there because father wants him to run the same business, and there is no professional management. And when I said that, okay, why don't you give it as a management contract to somebody else, or why don't you hire a CEO? It was like, kind of conflict. And if you tell them that, okay, let us change the structure, let us create a third party, and let us put your son's business and your business there and try to create something. Uh, no,
Ah,
let us keep it separate.
reluctant.
Huh.
Correct.
Abhi, the problem is son wants to be here, father also wants him to be here. So he's sometime here, he's sometime into his business. How exactly it is going to manage? And bringing
It's
in a
not.
third party, you know, and now what they expect, could we get the funds to turn around? So,
No, of course no. So, matlab, see, in fact, we've also dealt with companies where each member of the family has their own business and they're still running, right? And then you come to us, consolidated our business is good. You need to fund us, etc. But that is not how my risk lies. It
yeah,
is necessary for the if at all you plan to take an institutional investor, then you need to be institutionalized first. An institutional investor will not come in to institutionalize your company. They will only come in if they are institutionalized, right?
yeah,
It is very, very essential for them to bridge that gap pre-hand before you approach anybody.
yeah. Another very important aspect that I have seen, uh, professionalism is one dimension, which is, non-negotiable. Uh, then if you have to restructure, that restructuring again has to be, in a professional manner, where exactly the value could be generated. Now you have to recognize that to generate the value, we may have to, bring in the professional management, because after D-Day, or maybe once we have a falling revenues, we couldn't expect the, and they were ready to even sell 100% of the company rather than getting in the professional board. This is again create kind of a paradox. So let us take out the money in one go, whatever 100 crore 200 crores we can get, and then okay, we'll see what exactly we can do. But it is better to shell out some money right now, bring in the formal structure, and it seems like more of an Indian mentality. I do not know why, and
Exactly.
it,
Correct.
it really
Correct.
hurts. It
I
really
mean,
hurts.
we refuse to let go at the right time.
Yeah,
That is the I think problem over here, that we fail to understand ki yaar, today if it's a saying in Hindi, right? I had, or rather even in English, I had to cut my arm because I could not let go of my finger.
the fingers. Yes.
Is that kind of a situation over here?
Yeah.
And the only sensible thing that I have seen work actually is somebody who can influence that promoter, talk to them. Maybe it be their family, maybe it be an external advisor who has achieved something, maybe it be somebody in the industry, they attend a seminar, they go to some fund, they go to some bank. A lot of people who come to us as funds, right? And or as companies to the funds, when we speak to them, when we tell them this is the problem that we see, they realize, oh, my consultant already told me, I did not do it, right? And then they change. At that point in time, maybe it is too late, maybe they've come at the right time, but they require some sort of a person external to them to give them guidance. A lot of time they believe it's like घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर. If you hire a consultant, they may believe, "Arey, no, no, he's just telling me for the sake of telling me. He just wants more money, etc." But somebody who is not attached to the company telling them becomes a lot more impactful.
Yeah.
And that's how I think normal Indians work any which ways.
No, it does happen. I give you another example. Recently, I was talking to somebody where the company has gone, bankrupt. It has gone caboose almost 2, 3 years back. Now they are into IBC and assets are going to be dismantled. I said that, okay, by the time it is happening, you restart another company or at a small level. You already have, some orders which you have been, via outsourcing, you have been trying to. There are certain assets which are not attached to your old company. And you already have family members who have not been into the previous board. So you can, restructure and restart. So, the mentality and the kind of, response I got, it has taken me back. First, let it get dissolved. Let us see how much money we are going to get from there, and then we will see. I said that it is going to take another year. And by that time, the kind of money you are using for just making sure that you retain the customers on outsourcing, it is not making any sense. But there was okay, if my assets were sold for, let us say, 250 crores and I somehow get 20 crores from there, then I will try to start this
Mm.
company. But if you start this company today, in an year's time, whenever that will be settled, you will be in position to go to some funder and look for the fresh infusion of funds coming via
Correct.
equity into a new company. But they don't understand. They do not like to listen to you.
Exactly right, Vivekji. I think even the promoters, and I'm not blaming them actually, it is not their fault also. I'll tell you why. Because even they want to see a result of whatever they've done before they start something else. Right? They want to see what this can reap, what whether my efforts are appreciated, what I can fetch for it. But the sad thing they don't understand is that that's not how the market works. The the business a stagnant business will depreciate faster than a truck. Right?
Definitely.
Will fetch no value at the end of the day
Definitely.
if you keep it still, if you keep it stagnated. So it is very essential for them to understand ki time value is not only for money but for businesses also, right? And it will go down if you stop. So, and I see there are challenges also, but how can I handle two business, a new business? Starting a new business takes a lot of problems, it's a lot of efforts, it's a lot of new things you need to do. How will I focus on the other one? Who will take care of it while it is being sold, etc.? So somewhere it is to be matched, and that's, I believe, a team is very essential at that point in time, right? Like I said, not only on the board, on the management aspect, but also somebody you can rely on. That's why these new founders office roles are coming up, right? A lot of these founders are age old founders. They have sold two businesses, three businesses are coming, but they have not sold it in the past, they're still selling it. And these founder office guys are taking over. They are acting as replacements of CEOs, CFOs, etc. But and you need those kind of roles to come in. You need those kind of people who are passionate to come in to handle your business at least on a daily operative basis, so that you can bridge the gaps that you are specifically saying. So the point stands very valid, but I think the promoters themselves are also facing a lot of repercussions on their end.
Definitely. Mukund, another very important aspect where I would like you to touch upon is ESG in unit economics. Because when you talk as a consultant, usually founders don't take it seriously. So, what role they play once you get a pitch deck, you get a proposal, and you sit to look at these two things, because you look at the proposal in the entirety. In the, you try to look at the full picture. What weightage, what role specifically, these two things play in the complete analytics of the proposal, and what would be your take? What would be your suggestion for these guys to build upon these two?
That's a very valid question, Vivek ji. So the first thing I would like to mention, right? Pitch decks used to first be about the products and the services, but now they've turned out to be a lot about CAC and paybacks. In all honesty, for any VC fund, right?
Mm.
Especially CAC payback, correct? Not because at the end of the day, you don't want to be a bank. It should not happen that you have been marketing and you have been spending, but your payback to that CAC is coming after 4 years without any interest. Right? Think of it as a bank loan. You've disbursed upfront, and your person is paying you over 4 years without interest. That makes no sense, right? Those
Definitely.
numbers don't match. And then it is just a game of working capital for you. Then, yeah, I mean, you will never be able to grow. 4 years, every 4 years, most likely a new product comes in today's day and age, so every 2 years, right? And there are huge shifts happening in the market every time something new pops up. Right? So you never know when you will even be obsolete. So 4 years is a very long time
Very long
for a
time.
CAC payback. I mean, a 1 year, 1.5 year kind of a CAC payback is still doable, but every investor will start looking at it, and that is the one slide where all investors now stop. What is it? what is happening, when is the payback coming, what are your CACs, and CACs are not just your marketing spends, but also your CEO's time, CFO's time, your sales team salaries, a lot of unmanageable marketing expenses, social influencer costs, and so many different things which are coming up, right? From your AI spends on promotions to any other brand building exercise.
I'm extremely sorry. When you talk to any kind of a promoter, especially a new fund, then you talk about CAC, it still ends up with, market spend and ad spend. That's it. And when you try to explain them the entire, this confuses them. This says, no, 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 you are giving too complicated things. I'm going to somebody who I missed last, and he gave me a very simple explanation that, okay, you look at these two items and you will come to know that roughly 2%, 5% you add on to it and it becomes the CAC. And
Correct.
you are holding your head that who gave you this?
So that is a very big, I think, notional challenge only, because the person who will fund you will want at least their customers to get the money back faster, right? So if you're running a bank, it's a separate thing. I'm pretty sure you will charge an interest. But if you're a company, for example, a D2C guy who's having a CAC of around 2 years, especially D2C, I'm uncertain how much I want to be investing in it. Correct. Either either you have a spectaculous product that you are charging a premium every time, every year you're growing. It's like Zomato, you keep charging platform fees, you keep charging service fees, you do Zomato Gold, you do 2000 acquisitions, and things will move smoothly. But even then, you will burn them. You will never be positive,
Yeah.
right? And that is not the way to grow. Then it's just top line and valuations game. That's not a good business. That's a VC business or a PE business. It's not a
Now,
good business.
now the ultimately, you put everything in equity and you come out of the game.
Correct.
So
Correct.
let the market play the game. I'm out because I've
Huh,
already
I'm out.
converted
Then
everything.
so I've been with promoters who barely have any stake in their own company, and I'm like, why are you working? Matlab, what is your objective? What will you earn out of this, right? Other than salary, you are basically an employee of the VC and PE funds. What are you doing? And they have no answer to it, but they still want to. I'm like, then what incentive do I have as a fund to invest in you? Correct. I don't see any. There's a couple of VCs running your business, whereas it's not your business also
Yeah.
at this point in time. So that's the problem we face, right? So CAC and CAC payback are the highest and most crucial for me per se, right? If I'm investing equity, uh, credit wise, of course, your GMs and EBITDAs, your free cash flows, these are of crucial assessment, because at the end of the day, I will be paid in cash. If you don't have cash, if it's all notional, your adjusted EBITDAs, etc., don't work. I need pure core cash, and that will only come when you're churning money and not having CACs of four odd years. Right? So I am, as a credit investor, maybe I will still be okay with a 3 year kind of a CAC, as long as the money still keeps coming, right? Because I can bridge it. That's what venture debt guys do. But equity money should not ideally go in such kind of investments, unless you genuinely are playing a valuation game, or you see a very high potential in the company, right? That today maybe the CAC is 3 years, tomorrow two, day after one, maybe 6 months down the line, right? So CAC is basically you telling, "Ha, this is the money that I will be able to repay you." That's how actually valuations are to be done, right? This is the money I can, if I sell the business 2 years, 3 years down the line, this is the kind of money I can pay you when you sell my business. That's where I will grow. It's a promise you are making that I will grow at this stage in the XYZ amount of years that you invest in. But sadly, that's not what's happening, and that is very fearsome, right? Because it's a game of venture debt guys funding venture debt guys, VC guys funding other VC guys, PE guys funding other PE guys through secondaries, through primary infusions, etc. So it becomes it's very it's very important for funds to be very choosy where you invest, right? Unfortunately, that's not how the market works, but it is crucial, right, for the team. On ESG aspects specifically, see, very true example today. Uh, Mumbai's reservoirs are not even 10% in terms of water. Used to be 100% every monsoon. 2 weeks late monsoon, and we are all in a drought, right? So climate change and ESG is no longer notional at this point. It is abundantly clear that we need to take steps. Why is ESG important? Multiple reasons, of course. You take compliance perspectives, you take statutory perspectives, you take export perspectives, you take actual impactful perspectives. All of them are a very big tick for ESG and impact. Abhi, what happens is companies have a lot of these things in places, but they don't know how to write. Sadly, there is not enough knowledge in the market to understand what ESG is or what impact is or what you're even doing. People who recycle, people who put solar rooftops, people who who use alternate modes of transport. They do it for cost purposes a lot of these times, right? They know they will save, but
No, they
but
come for because of government policies. Because
yeah, or for
with
government policies,
yeah.
correct. But if you do it voluntarily, right, you will not only have those cost benefits, but you will also have a higher, subtle, respectable, honorable advantage amongst your peers. Correct. When you go to a specifically for a European zone, right, you will know that they are very, very ESG or impact friendly, and that is not that's not a choice that was imposed. It's a choice they took. Right. They understood. Of course, it was regulatorily also imposed, but they took it happily because they know that this is gonna make a difference today or tomorrow for us, for the future of the kids, for the future of this planet. Right. So ESG is no longer an optional thing. Even ESG is actually very, very simply put, impact and ESG have a very simple definition. ESG is you doing something which is to be done in a good sense. Impact is you doing something better, right? Better than others, better than what your peers can do. Using sustainable means of processing, using recycling, reusing, too many things at this point, right? And it is not that we don't have the ability to do it, it's just we're choosing not to do it because it is tough. The change is tough. And hence, even especially in our fund, we have a specific facility. We call it the TA facility, where we help these companies change monetarily and through whatever guidance we can offer, through engaging with consultants, etc. Because you understand it is crucial. Today, you may not realize it. 5 years down, you 100% will. कल तक recycling इतना important नहीं था, but now you need to use 30, 40, 70% of your recycled plastics. You don't have an option, right? And sooner or later, it'll become more stringent. If you don't do it voluntarily, you will never have an edge.
Agree.
You need to have that future perspective in mind before you think that your business is going to grow 100 years. In those 100 years, 2000 things will change. You should at least have a grip on 100.
Agreed. Agreed. Very, very much true. And it is not about the law, it is also about how innovative you could be. And this,
Correct.
for preparing for the future, Tatas have been doing it. Whatever changes have been brought in India,
Very
maybe
true.
10 years back, Tata initiated those things 10 years before the being, ordered by the government or by adopted by the other companies. And that is what made them unique and, made them much ahead. I think others are also catching up. Another very important observation that I was discussing with somebody maybe 2 days back, and it happened that most of the high tech startups, the high tech businesses, now they are very much focusing on equity play, and that is what equity players also feel like. Even if you're a catering company, and you could bring a app where you could deliver people or maybe employees of a company maybe 100 meals in a day, and you can have everything being tracked on that particular app, and that app itself could be a SaaS product which could be used other for the other companies also. You'll easily be able to get the equity on that, and you will also be able to run your catering company based upon that. But if you go to a debt fund, the debt funder is now looking at something which is more traditional and big. A big ticket, maybe a company with a 400 crores, turnover, or maybe a 500 crore turnover and only cash. And this is how exactly the Indian, uh, debt market and the equity market has almost been, crystallized or have taken, to different positions in last 4 5 years. Is it true, or is it still, amicable game for a startup? If you are even high tech, you have certain, traction, you have certain good revenue, you could still go for debt. And even if you're a traditional company, you can go for equity. Because I know some funds are there, like Five Capital and others, but those players are very limited. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mostly it seems that industry has been segregated very clearly in terms of where debt will play and where equity will play. What is your take and what do you feel is the reason, or how exactly it is going to change? Because this kind of categorization in long run, it gives me a feeling is going to hurt us very badly.
So, Vivek ji, see what it, I wouldn't call it a bubble, right? But I'll call it a thematic representation of the years. What has happened is a lot of tech startups have started coming in, right? It is not that traditional businesses are dead or people don't want to invest in them, but it's just that the new age guys who are coming in, everybody can see that tech is the way to make money today, in today's day and age. Not in terms of your balance sheet or P&L, but at least in terms of your valuation. Today you can come up to me and say, I own a $1 billion company, and I will genuinely not be surprised, because that could be your valuation. Somebody would have put 1 rupee in your company at a $1 billion valuation, and that is true,
Yeah.
right? It is on paper, but it is true. And that is what a lot of these plays have been happening around. Now, why the credit guys are afraid of coming in is because these valuations are notional, right? You, in all honesty, you don't have any cash to pay, and credit does not work on the notional aspect of things. They work on today what you can pay me, and 5 years down the line, within that 5 years down the line, what can you pay me in terms of cash? I'm not putting equity. I will not be selling instruments. If something goes wrong, I'll definitely be selling your business, but not your instruments, right? So the problem that the bifurcation that you're stating is only existing because the tech businesses that we are looking at are either very small or they can't generate enough cash to pay, right? I also seen a lot of credit investors put in money in tech businesses who are at probably 50 crore kind of revenues, 100 crore kind of revenues, maybe EBITDA burning still because they have a lot of R&D to do, but they can generate cash. It is not that they can't generate cash, right? So somewhere everybody will have to adapt, not because uh, the VC or PEs are planning to do it, but because the people who are starting those businesses have decided we want to move more SaaS, right? So a PE, for example, if I were to start my own fund tomorrow, I will for sure not choose something like manufacturing, because I understand the returns that I can make on that is exponentially low when I compare it to a tech business. More or less likely, if required, I'll do a 50-50, but I will definitely have some sort of focus on tech, because I know the supply is abundant, right? There are too many companies on this planet for me to invest in when it comes to tech, and too little companies which are still doing manufacturing. In all honesty, I don't even know if in the past few days I've received any pitch deck for a manufacturing company. I've received at least hundreds of them for tech. That's the kind of supply that is there for me. So it's not that it has been split. It's just that themes have changed a little, right? Similarly, maybe going forth now when AI has come, AI has become a very specific theme. Maybe defense sector is next, right? Maybe space tech is next. But tech has become such a crucial aspect of every business today, right? A trucking business will want an AI now. I don't know what they will do of an AI, but they want an AI. uh, a catering business wants an AI. We don't know what, but they want an AI. I mean, it's become such a core aspect that even a VC or PE, if they want to fund, they want to see what is the cutting edge thing that you're using. A traditional business may genuinely not be able to survive if they don't grow, they don't adapt.
No, it
So,
recently happened because we had this catering business. One of the funders they picked it up, and this question was asked. So we have to tell them that please try to bring in an app where something could be done and you may get funded. Because this
correct,
I understand, because you may be making 30-40 crore rupees in a year as a turnover. Since you want to generate equity, equity there is the equity funder is asking you to have an app, so you have to get an app. And
correct. No, no, and
mhm,
it is not even wrong. I'll tell you why. Because see, and if an equity funder is coming to a company and asking, if whether or not you have done this, they have at least seen some other business do it,
yeah,
and they know it is already there in the market or it is being theorized in the market. And if you are late, they will take over you very fast.
yeah.
And people love new things. They hate changing, but they love new things, right? And the newer the thing, the higher the value it fetches. So even an equity funder will look, what, this is a potential exit. If you can do something better, you can grow, I will at the end of the day look at my returns. If I'm not able to sell a traditional business in the market for at least 1x, then I don't know why I will invest in it.
No, it is very simple. If not catering, then SaaS will work.
Exactly,
So,
exactly, something
all
has to work.
Yeah, because it is better for me to have two verticals, and what works, maybe SaaS may start generating more revenue in the time to come.
Exactly,
It does
exactly.
happen. That brings me to a very specific question which was asked to me almost 2 months back by somebody who was a founder, and he came with a proposal because he was just making some 3-4 crore rupees as an turnover and seeking to generate, unsecured debt. And I told him that, we cannot help you with it. You have to go to a banking channel, because reason is simple. If you are requiring a 3 crore, if you are having 3 crore rupees as a turnover, maybe consider 10 to 15% is something that you're going to generate from the private front, unsecured, and you do not have much to offer as a security. And you are looking forward to raise another 3 crores on the 3 crore revenue. It's not possible. And their logic was that we do not want to dilute our equity as on now because we are very small. Maybe once we cross 20, 30 crore rupees, we will see, because valuation is going to be strong. That point of time, we could generate that, okay, 10% or 12% or 15% equity could be compromised. Not right now. Because right now we may end up offering 20, 30% for simply 3 crore rupees, which is, still required to stabilize our operations. Logic is very clear. But, what do you recommend for these kind of businesses? How would you suggest that these kind of businesses should move forward?
Uh,
In terms
well,
of fundraising, because this money is important for them to grow. And even
yeah.
banks, banking channel also has a limitation. They are not going to infuse 3 crore
No,
rupees.
all honesty, see, it becomes very tough for a bank also to fund a 3 crore kind of
Yeah.
a company unless you're actually offering very good collateral. Maybe some you take a personal loan and you infuse it into the business. That's what I've seen a lot of these guys do, right? But if a 3 crore, 4 crore kind of a turnover business is there, it is best to take equity. I'll be frank. You may not be able to service the debt, and at that point in stage, such early in the business, if you turn out to be an NPA, it is very tough for your growth, right? Equity, especially also from either friends, family, be bootstrap, be HNIs, be angel investors or something, is easier game than any institutional investor, right? Unless that 3-4 crores is a month rather than a year. So so these guys, it's essential. They have very high expectations, right? I'm doing 4 crores. I need at least 3 crores more of a loan. Then you will have to take it on your personal name, provided you also have the capabilities to service it, right? That is not how it works. Sadly, it does not. And even unsecured folks will not give you checks of maybe more than a crore at a stretch,
No, it will
right?
not happen. Mukund,
Right.
you also know it is not going
Exactly.
to be more than
It's not
40,
going to be
45
possible.
lakhs. Yeah, it's not going
Correct.
to be possible.
30 to 50 lakhs is what is an optimum check for this kind of a turnover, and that is also higher rate,
Yeah,
which we they don't know if they'll be able to service,
yeah.
right? Equity, on the other hand, is still doable. Somebody may take a higher share at such a stage, but at least you'll be able to grow. You'll be able to expand in value. That is the optimum way to grow for them.
Agreed. But when you give this kind of an advice, you also know you have given them what exactly the right advice and right way to move. But they see it as your incapability, or your defensiveness, and they will not take it in the positive stride that, okay, what you have suggested is actually the market reality. And
So,
they've already
वही
taken
वही
some 60,
हाँ
80 lakh rupees from their own family, friends, and from that 80 lakhs they have been able to come to this 3, 4 crore rupees. For them it's a big jump. Now they expect that we have an evidence, we have a validation of the business idea, we expect money to come from, but that money is not easy to come the way they expect. So
very true, very true. It's like I said, right? घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर. If you take a consultant which you are paying, most likely they will not believe it is the market rate, market standard, right? You will need to take them either to the bank or take them to a fund and let them have the hit that we cannot fund you. Let them see why you can't fund them. That is the thought. So that's what I said, right? A lot of these companies, their consultants do have a call. We do have a meetup only for me to tell them that I cannot fund you today because your XYZ is lacking, or these are the kind of things I would still require before I can even think of funding you. But but these guys will not believe their consultants. That's a sad reality of any consultant in anybody's company. तो उनको वो essentially समझाना ज़रूरी है कि see I have taken you to 5 people, all of them have rejected you with the same reason. If you still refuse to believe, that this is how it is gonna be. I can take you to 5 other people, but it will not result anything. It's a waste of your time and mine. It is best if you go for XYZ mechanism, which is easier, right? We can still do your unsecured bit. In fact, if you raise an equity, it will be easier for me also to pitch. कि हाँ चलो इसने equity भी raise कर लिया है, maybe a venture debt guy will come, or maybe any other bank will be happy to take on a loan. But it is practically impossible for you to raise a loan today with the kind of revenues that your growth is good, but creditors don't operate on your future value. They operate on your current value, and currently you have no value for them.
Yeah.
Is very very essential for, I think, for you to have at least 2 3 folks of funds on your books. Give them a call and ask them to tell him कि ये नहीं होगा.
But honestly, it feels to me, somebody like me, that it is wasting their time and as well as, time of the client also. But
Correct,
yeah,
correct.
at
But
times it
no,
does
that's the
happen.
truth.
But
Ah,
at times it does happen when you have somebody who is a really a big name and is after your life, you have to at least take them to 5 people to give them straightforward rejection. It does
correct.
happen. So we have also
Mm,
played that game
ah,
together. We have also done that. But it's altogether a different story. You
ah.
know, another before we finish, because you have already been very kind to me
No,
and
no,
you have
no, no, no.
uh, if somebody is a day one founder, and because I tell everybody that at least once you are looking for the funds, you are a new founder, look for 3 years and try to see how much money you will be needing for 3 years and try to raise accordingly. But they usually try to raise early, maybe in 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, and seeing once the growth is going to unfold, how could I wait for 3 years? So I would like you to specifically address that, number one. Second, if somebody is a day one founder, what would be your honest advice to them to start, how to start, and how to look at fundraising?
Okay. So for a day one founder, right? Assuming even if it's a first generation founder, but पहली बार family में किसी ने चालू किया, uh, the very first thing I would like for them to know is whether or not you genuinely believe in what you're doing. A lot of these founders, I've had friends who started their own companies and 2 months down the line they stopped because they didn't even believe in the product at that point in time. They just thought it's a good thing to do. So be very very careful of what you're starting, right? Where you're going, and do you genuinely see a market? Because this is not just money of the funds. You will waste a lot of time. You will put in a lot of money of your own also, right? तो पहले तो वो बहुत clarity is of utmost essential, right? दूसरा, for fundraising specifically for a founder, you are absolutely right. You should have a vision of what is the kind of focus you're looking at, and that vision should be practical. It should not be, what, first year I'm doing 10 crores, next year I'm doing 100 crores, third year I'll be 1000, so I will not need funding. तो मेरे को खाली 10 crores जितना funding चाहिए. It is practically not possible, right? So you will need to be very, very practical, sit down with your books and see how the businesses have scaled. And unless it's a very brand new idea, I'm pretty sure it exists in the market. तो एक बार आप thorough research करोगे, you will 100% be sure what is the kind of burn that each industry has, what are kind of challenges. So one of the founders I met recently started around, he had an advertising business, but he was also doing recycling, right? And recycling was a smaller bit, 20 odd crores. He landed up with a good 150 kind of government project, and he's like, Mukund, I'll get this 150 crores in the next 6 months. You give me 50 crores, I'll be very happy to pay you off in the next 1.5 years only. I said, your vision is very good, but I've never seen a government payout come on the timeline that they have said, right? So I'm pretty sure in the next 1.5 years, you'll not even have the money. And till today, it's been 2 years, he does not have the money, right? And he's stuck. What do I do, Mukund? I don't know what you will do, but you didn't have a practical approach despite people telling you. It is good to be passionate, but it is better to be practical. Right? Money will not come from passion, money will come from practicality. अगर आज आप 10 crore का सोच रहे हो तो most likely you will hit 6 or 7, right? And next year maybe 10, and you will need to bridge for that 4 crores and not that 100 crores, right? तो आपको वो उस हिसाब से पैसा उठाना है. And you're absolutely right when you say next 3 years you should have a vision, next 3 years you should know your expenses, and next 3 years you should know your burn before you pick up any money. And you should know whether you will be able to deliver what you have promised. On day one, if you're taking money, you should know, if I'm taking money at 100 crore valuation, I should be able to justify that valuation in 3 years. Otherwise, it is the next step is a down round, which nobody likes, right?
No, plus it
So
hurts your equity holding also. It hurts your, it keeps on diluting. And if you go for debt, then you suddenly feel that you have been over leveraged, or maybe the one who's sitting on your cap table as an equity investor would not allow you to take, extreme leverage.
even of all things, it hurts the morale of the company, right? आज मैं 100 crore का था, tomorrow I'm 50 crores only, and what happened? What went wrong, right? How can I improve? And then you start taking riskier bets, riskier steps. You start doing R&D. 50% of your time is going into R&D, which may even not result in a fruitful thing, and that is not how you want to be. So it's like you very well mentioned, have a 3-year plan, have a very practical 3-year plan, include some buffers, include some notionalities. India is not the easiest marketplace to own a business or start a business, so have a lot of regulatory buffers. That's
Yeah,
very, very
definitely.
important, right? And
Definitely.
any day one founder, just be true to what you are trying to do, not replicate a business, not replicate a model, not replicate अरे उसका भी हो गया. So I've seen a lot of businesses come and tell me, he's raising it at 100 million, I also want my raising to be at 100 million. I'm like, that is not how it operates, man. If I am able to raise a 200 crore fund, does not mean my counterparty is able to raise a 200 crore fund. He may raise 600, he may raise 50 crores. That's not
Very true.
how things work, right?
Very
Every
true.
business is different, every founder is different, every team is different, every aspect that you're chasing is different. Maybe tomorrow he subsumes your company. I don't know. So that's not how things work. So be true, be actually true. Don't start peer valuation, peer comparison is an easy way out, but it's not the truest way out. Look at various businesses. A 10 crore business will, I can give you $100 billion valuation if you want, but it will not truly reflect on you maybe 1 year down the line. If 100 billion jab $1 million पे आएगा, you will not like it.
Agreed.
Right. So
Okay.
it's not good for anybody.
No, agreed. And the last question, which was actually it was not scheduled, but you have brought that topic valuation. So no, it does happen. And if you tell them that, listen, you are doing round one, you are just having a vintage of 1.5 years, 2 years, how could you be $100 million? Or maybe how could you be a 100 crores company? And they will, you don't understand our business model. So, any closing comment before we really close? And I will appreciate if you could really hit the nail.
See, honestly speaking, now all valuations I believe are notional. Right. I have not
Very
seen
true.
any valuation beyond paper. You can move things around as you want to have whatever valuation you want. All honesty, right? Business models on Excel are very easy to perform. I can the same business I'm valuing at 200 crores, I can value it at 1,000 crores. It's
No, I
just
have I have
three
some
numbers to punch.
angel friends also. They will talk about 5x, and here I will develop
Ah,
3.5x, and that will be 10x, and that will become this much, and I'm going to dilute this much.
it
You
is
do talk to them for half an hour over drinks or over lunch or over dinner. Same, same. And
every
it makes me think, yeah, what have I been doing for so long?
it is very, very tough. See, that's what it is. One very important thing beyond, I think, valuation is, right. You should choose the right partner. For a company, it is very essential to choose the right fund also. Not only for the fund to choose the right company, but also for the company to choose the right fund. Not only in terms of valuation, but also partnership, right? If your partnership with the fund is of a similar nature, similar industry, similar passion, most likely you will get the valuation you're looking for. Maybe a little discount here and there. Of course, everybody wants to play that game. But more or less likely, if you have a shared vision, your valuation will not be a problem, right? And valuation is again a notional game. It is the investor and the company who should come at the same level. And if they have the same perspective over the business, valuation I have never seen to be a problem. मतलब आप 100 crore के साथ आओगे, maybe I'll offer you 85 or 90, and that is not a very big gap. But if you come for 100 crores and if I'm offering 150, you should be careful.
No,
Right?
definitely. I think it has to be fluid. Why to go with a certain number in your mind? Rather, it should
Correct.
be, let it be fluid and let it open while discussion is being taking place.
Correct. And I think it is necessary for founders also to be flexible to understand, you know what, maybe not today 100 crores, but tomorrow for sure. But it is, it will reach, right? You have hopes for everything else, you have hope for valuation also. I guess one thing I refuse to understand also from the perspective of a founder, right? I understand dilution is a problem when it comes to valuation, but it is also essentially you're not selling your business tomorrow. You sell, if at all you sell it, you'll sell it way down in the line, right? So don't be scared of that much of valuation. Maybe 5 10 crores will not hurt your pocket today, and tomorrow be sure when you get that money you utilize it in such a way that the 100 crores goes to 200. Then it's an
Definitely,
easier ball game. तो
definitely.
वो डरो मत, आप सब चीजों में गोइंग कंसर्न यू टेक अ गोइंग कंसर्न ऑन योर वैल्यूएशन आल्सो.
Very true. Very true. I really appreciate your time, your effort, and the kind of, the discussion we had. Thank you, Mukund, for your time. Really
Vivek,
appreciate your
for
support. It was a pleasure.
pleasure is all mine. Thanks.
Thank you. Take care. Bye,
Take
Mukund.
care.
Have a great weekend and have a great day ahead. Bye.
You too.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.